tools that are particularly helpful for finding keywords that are freely accessible are wordtracker.com and keywordtool.io. Unfortunately, keywordtool.io won't show you the more detailed information on the free plan, but it can give you some more general terms or some more keywords that you might want to put in your article. Word Tracker is a bit better on the free version, and you can actually see like the average monthly volume of searches, and you can see the competition and the in anchor and title, which basically just means how powerful a site is, and you don't have to worry too much about that because that's a more advanced concept. So when you're using these sites, on both of them, when you search, just make sure to change to English and generally the US, because English for obvious reasons, and US because most of the traffic to Take Me to Korea and other blogs about Korea is from the US, normally like 40 or 50%. So targeting the United States is generally the best idea for traffic and longevity. So once you've found all these keywords, you want to find something that you actually want to write about. In this case, maybe best cafes in Seoul, or the Poop Cafe is also very popular. You can choose what you want to write about here. So from the start, you decided you want to write about cafes, but you have to check if there's actually people searching for that. So then you come to these tools, you can see there's not that much interest, but there is some interest, and this can change over time. And then from these, you can find some keywords that you want to target, and you can also narrow down what you want the post to actually be about. So once you've come up with an idea from one of these tools that I've shown you or otherwise, you want to decide how to actually structure the article. So in the case of writing articles about cafes, there are a few popular structures. One of them is a list. Lists are always very popular. So it could be the top 5 best cafes in Seoul, top 5 best themed cafes in Seoul, top 10, etc. Another thing that is very popular, or another format that is very popular, is more like review-style articles, in which case you might just review one cafe, or if you can't actually visit the cafe, you might write about like using other people's pictures, or like aggregating other people's opinions on a cafe. Cafe probably is not the best example if you don't live in Korea, because it is very difficult to write about, but these examples apply to anything. You could be writing about the 5 best times to visit Korea throughout the year, or you could be writing an article about 5 must-do things in Korea. So generally lists work very well, reviews work very well, aggregation articles can work very well, like 5 Korean blogs that you should check out before traveling to Korea, or the 5 best photographers in Korea, or 5 photographers that you should follow who post photos about Korea, things like that. Those are generally the most popular formats. However, you can be kind of free with the format. The overall format is not too important. However, list articles and aggregation articles do tend to do very well. So once you've actually decided on like a topic to write about, and you've found some keywords that you want to put in your article from here, then you can actually start designing the article and putting it together. So one thing that's very important to know is that your title and your subtitles are very, very important for SEO. So when you're adding your title, if there's a specific phrase you're trying to target, you almost always want that phrase to be in your title. So let's take the example of Korean animal cafes. So you want that phrase, Korean animal cafes, to be in your title. So it could be top 5 best Korean animal cafes. And then you could add something after that, like I can't think of any examples now, but you could add a little bit more to the title, because this is quite a short title right now. However, the key is that the key phrase that you're trying to target or keyword is in the title. And This also goes for the link. So when you visit, for example, this link here, you can see it's trexplorer.com/best time to visit Korea. And what I searched was the best season to visit Korea. So you can see they're virtually the same. So what your URL, the keywords that it has in it, is actually also very, very important. So you can change that here with the permalink. However, if I save this, yeah, it will actually automatically update it. So now I don't need to change it because it already is called takemetokorea.com/top5 best Korean animal cafes. However, you shouldn't always use the title because sometimes the title is too long and it results in a very long URL, and sometimes it might be, let's say, time sensitive. So if I do in 2021 and I save draft, you see it changes the URL. However, if I update this article in the future to top 5 best animal cafes, Korean animal cafes in 2022, then I'm going to have to redirect this post to the new one because I'm going to have to change the date. So the easiest way is simply remove the date from the URL, but keep it in the title. This means that if the article is updated in the future to help with SEO, only the title has to be updated, nothing else. So including the keyword or key phrase that you're trying to target in the title and in the URL is absolutely vital. Those are probably the two most important places to put it. Obviously, you have freedom as to how you put it in the title. Just try to include it somewhere. If you can't fit it or if it feels unnatural, then just go with something similar that it feels a bit more natural or makes people want to click on the article. So now you can actually go ahead with writing your article. Writing the article, you don't need to worry about how the actual content is written too much. Try to include some keywords where you can. Use the phrases that you're trying to target a bit, the phrases that you want your article to appear for on Google. But don't stuff them into your post. Don't put Korean animal cafes in every sentence. Just every paragraph or even just a few times in a post is okay because Google and readers already have an indication as to what you're writing about. So provided this post is detailed and well made, then it has a chance of appearing first when somebody searches it. What is important is using subheadings. So similar to how we read, let's say reading a book, and a book has chapters, right? You use the chapters to navigate through the book, or at least in non-fiction books, perhaps in novels and such. The chapter may have a random name that doesn't actually apply so much to it. But in non-fiction book, you have titles that indicate what exactly that page, that chapter is about. And this is vital for blogs as well. You will often see people not using headings, and this is a big mistake, especially if you have a longer article. So headings are important because they show Google and readers the structure of an article, right? Rather than just having lots of paragraphs and images below here, we can add one because this is a top 5 article, and then we can have the name of the cafe, so cafe name. And then we could create another heading, cafe name. So this is now a list article, and people can come onto the article and they can easily see the first best, second best, third best, fourth best, etc. And it makes it much easier to navigate. You could put, you can put an image here, and then you can write about cafe number 1, then you can write about cafe number 2 down here. And this is very important not just for readers, but also for Google, because it allows Google to look through your website and actually identify exactly what is about what. So I'm not sure if it will work now, because it never works when you're trying to show somebody. But if I search, oh, it does work. If I search best sunsets in Korea, you can see this article here. Google has made this, we call it a rich result, from somebody's website. In this case, Tracy.com. If I go into this website, you can see that number 1 is Gyeongpo Beach, and here, Gyeongpo Beach. 2, Gyeongdongjin. 2. So you can see these here are actually headings, right? They're much bigger. They're obviously using the heading block. And Google has actually gone through that article and it says, oh, the best sunrise and sunset photo spots in South Korea. And then since they're listed clearly, it knows how to read the article. Right? It's understood that this is 1, 2, 3, because it's clearly listed and they're using hitting blocks. So now it can extract the information and put it here. And obviously, getting this spot is very important because it's not only the number one result, but it's big and it's colorful and has pictures. This one here is much more likely to be clicked on than any article below it, simply because this is like half of my screen right here, right? Vertically, this is about half of my screen. Whereas these articles below have 2 sentences. They're minuscule. And on mobile, often the first slot is even more pronounced. So using headings is very important for this reason, especially for list articles, because it shows not only readers, but also Google exactly how your article is laid out. In these headings, you can also include keywords and such. However, it's not vital. Like, for example, if I have cafe number 1, the name goes here, and then I could put next to it, let's see. I think I saw before that cat cafes were very popular. So, I can't find them here now. But to make this a bit more specific, I could put Korea's best cat cafe. So now I've managed to put another keyword in. And if somebody searches for the best cat cafe in Korea, this article may still show up, even though this article is targeting the keyword best animal cafe, Korean animal cafes. So you can kind of fashion these titles how you want. You want to make them natural and fluent, but also putting keywords in them can increase the chances of them actually appearing in Google.